Hello there, this is Pat McDonald, your host for Vermont Viewpoint on WDEV. I want to thank Lee Cattell for wrapping up the last hour. I'm sitting in here in this room with a dead mic talking away, but I sounded good. So thanks to Pam Lads and Teresa Gerard for their comments on our water on our bigger lakes, Lake Champlain and Lake Memphremagog. Something to pay attention to, people. Now joining me on the show is Darcy Carter, who's the District Director for the Small Business Association here in Vermont. And welcome to the show, Darcy.
Hi, Pat. I'm glad to be on.
Yeah, I hope we don't have any trouble anymore. We ran out of electricity once or twice, but if it happens, just hang on. They'll fix it for us. Anyway, Darcy's been on the show before, and I'm very glad she called and asked if she could come on and talk about the VSBA award winners. And there were 9 of the awards given out for the 2024 Best of Business. Could you talk about these awards, Darcy, and how they're selected, what the process is? And I must say, what an honor to be nominated for the SBA awards.
Sure. We love this program because we have so many, inspiring small business owners in the state. And when their peers recognize them with a nomination, it starts actually way back in October. And the person nominated then provides information to SBA, and this is a national program. So each state runs their own SBA awards, and then the Small Business Person of the Year and Exporter of the Year, those go on to national competition. The rest of the awards go through regional competition. We did have 2 regional winners this year. And these awards are based on, the success of the business. So they do have to show, they've had a growth in revenues, net worth, net profit, increase in employees, expansion of their locations, which can include, online, the innovativeness of their product or service, overcoming adversity, which, with COVID and the flooding, that's certainly been a factor.
Right. And
contributions to the community. And those are the stories that I think are very inspiring for us here locally in Vermont, that, our businesses are really often very big parts of their community, and really staunch advocates, for healthy downtowns and, livable wage and, the climate, all of those things. So I think they just deserve to be recognized. And, it's a really great program that we do every year.
We wouldn't be as wonderful a state as we are without our small businesses. And joining us on the phone is the winner of the Vermont Small Business Person of the Year, Dr. Kerry Boyle. Kerry, welcome to the show. How awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, how awesome.
Oh, this is great. I love and just so people know, Kerry is the owner of Integrated Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. I am so interested in your business and what you do. I was so excited to see that because I have a lot of questions, Kerry. So talk about how you built this business and what it's all about.
Sure. Thank you. And I think it's so fascinating, too. So thank you for being interested in it. I first started Integrative Acupuncture with a partner, Josh Singer, in 2010. We were welcomed by the Montpelier Integrated Family Health providers right in downtown Montpelier on Main Street. And the physicians there were just so open-minded to integrative medicine that they wanted to have acupuncturists right in the building. So we opened our own practice there. We started with just 2 treatment rooms and the 2 of us. And one of the things we did to really get the word out about acupuncture was that we offered $10 treatments in a group setting. And our first week doing it in about 2010 or 11, we had 50 people show up as the doors opened.
Wow.
So there was an obvious interest and need for this complementary and natural medicine. Through the years, we have worked on being strong advocates for getting more access to our medicine via insurance coverage and also through education. The business grew from 2010 through now by adding employees. We're up to 13 employees now. I own the business 100% myself now, and I was able to buy a building with the help of the SBA in 2021 on Elm Street, just around the corner from where the practice was located on Main. So we increased from 2 exam rooms up to 7, which allows us to see a lot more people. And I also opened a second location in 2019 in Williston. Another 5 exam rooms there to see folks. And just real recent, in the last couple of months, Northeastern Reproductive Medicine in Colchester invited us to open a satellite clinic to help people going through IVF and fertility troubles. So just in the last couple of months, we've opened a 3rd location within their offices in Colchester.
Oh, there's so many questions. I'm so glad you're on. That's
Thank
really
you.
great. Can you, Darcy, can you tell us why Dr. Boyle won this award as you saw her business compared to everybody else in Vermont? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, no, it's always very competitive, and there's lots of different categories. So they really do have to show their financial success. They do have to, but that's confidential, but they do need to show like 3 years of financials, and then they do have to kind of explain, kind of tell their story. And I think what the judges saw in Dr. Boyle's, submission is that she's the spirit of entrepreneurship. The many things that she does, with acupuncture and treating people's pain and other things. She also, I believe, has herbal products, and she developed during COVID with her children a line of chocolate bars that she can describe better than I can. They're very beautifully labeled. They're sold like at health food stores, and they have herbs in them. And she also expanded into a floating tank. She'll have to tell you more about that. And she took part in a program that SBA runs called Thrive. It used to be called Emerging Leaders, but it's a 6-month program. It's a big commitment. I don't know how she found the time, but she was very committed to it. And when she was presenting her final, growth plan and what she wanted to do, she could have had 3 hours and not run out of ideas.
That's great.
So she just really is a great marketer. She's really tapped into, her market and what needs to be done within her industry. Like she said, a great advocate to have insurance cover acupuncture, which would, really help so many more people.
Right.
And I think she just, the innovativeness of what she does. You might not think that there's a lot of creativity in her field, but she's proven otherwise. So I think that was very impressive.
Kerry, I heard a word that we have to chat about that Darcy talked about, chocolate.
I was hoping it was chocolate. Yep.
Oh, yes. My ears perked right up. I'm on a chocolate high from Easter, so.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you about it. It actually came from the pandemic. We shut down, of course, our acupuncture practice, and my practice is definitely a family business. I employ both my husband and my ex-husband.
Sorry. I have one of those, so I don't think I'd do that.
Well, we're a pretty great family, and when we shut down, of course, we were in our bubble with our 2 children and trying to figure out what were we going to do. And that's when we put together our skills. My husband is a acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist, Jonathan Fleming, and my ex-husband, Jean-Luc Jenny, is a Swiss chef.
Oh.
And so we figured, how can we put our skill set together? And one of the things with Chinese herbs is they don't taste super awesome, a little bit dirt-like. And we have been feeding them to our children for their whole lives. And what we would do after we would give them herbs was give them a piece of chocolate. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Exactly.
And we finally figured out and finally had the time when we were shut down through the pandemic to experiment with our 7 different herbal formulas for normal conditions like stress and sleep and energy and mix them with dark chocolate, white chocolate, milk chocolate, and using Jean-Luc's Swiss experience as a chef, he was able to figure out how to make these taste just delicious. And through the last couple of years, we have just kind of played around with the acupuncture community. We're in about 200 acupuncture clinics across the country, and then locally in City Market and a couple other little health food stores in Vermont. And we're going to see where it takes us. Frankly, we haven't had a lot of time to put into it once business started coming back after the pandemic. But it's just a real fun project. It allows us to continue our mission of advocacy and education. The bars come with information about acupressure points that you can do at home for the condition that you're eating the bar for. Lots of patients buy them for friends and family that they want to expose them to Chinese medicine. So it's just another way for us to continue our mission.
That's great. Well, I can tell your ex-husband, I worked for 20 years for Ciba Geigy Corporation, which is a Swiss company.
Ah.
And I used to travel over there all the time. They come from Basel. And they had an executive, executive restaurant in the building for the executives. And they had a Swiss chef that would come over every year. And when you got invited to dine with whomever, you never said no.
I bet it was delicious.
It was incredible. So kudos to him. That's great. Anyway, I have, and Darcy mentioned a couple of extra things to talk about. Your services are focused on healing, cooperation, and wellness, which I thought was a rather interesting combo. And if I may go down the list of services that you offer, I'd like to talk about it. Like the first one is pain relief and sports medicine. If I were to go there, do I need a doctor's referral, or do you take anybody walking in with a pain?
Yep. We're considered direct entry providers, meaning we do not need a referral to see you. Though if you're going to see us for a workers' comp situation, we would need an authorization. Same thing, we're with the community network of the veterans. We can see them, but they do need an authorization first. But anyone else who has insurance coverage or wants to pay time of service can just give a call and come on in for a treatment.
Great. So, for pain, what is acupuncture?
Great question.
Well, because I'm thinking of what everybody I think thinks acupuncture is, and with needles and things. But I've been giving my dog shots morning and night for diabetes, and she doesn't feel a thing. I pinch the skin and put the thing in, and I always think I'm doing a little bit of acupuncture or something. But anyway.
Well, a big difference is our needle size. So we do use needles. They are a tenth of the size of a hypodermic needle, so they're teeny tiny. In fact, when I went to my interview at the school I ended up getting my master's and doctorate from, they asked about my experience having received acupuncture. And I said, oh, no, not only have I never had it, I don't ever want to. Thank you very much. I'm sure it's going to hurt. And they almost laughed me out of the interview because, lo and behold, you're going to have to practice on each other for about 3.5 years. So I was going to have to get over that real quick, which I did. It turned out it's painless and actually quite relaxing. About half of our folks fall asleep during acupuncture treatments, and we think of that as a real good sign to allow them to relax. So we use these tiny little needles. The medicine's been around for over 4,000 years. And we do kind of a combination of modern Western medicine with traditional Chinese medicine. So we understand the meridians or lines of energy from acupuncture's history, but we also understand modern anatomy and functionality. And the way it works is basically the needle goes into the body, and your body thinks you've had a foreign object inserted. So much like getting a splinter, your body's going to react, and it's going to try to push that foreign object out by increasing the flow of blood and relaxing the muscles all around it. So if you come in for back pain and we do some acupuncture on your back, the relaxation of muscles and the increase of flow of blood relaxes inflammation, relaxes your whole back, and then your brain will release endorphins and dopamine and serotonin from your brain, which is just a natural happy chemical mix to make you feel pain-free.
So listen, Darcy, if you want to jump in here and help me ask questions, please do, because I think you're probably thinking the same things I am about this. So please jump in if you have any questions.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
well,
please.
Kerry has this floating tank. Do you still have that, Kerry?
Of course. People love it. Today's a great day for a float, too. So also during the pandemic, we had a real hard time trying to figure out how we were going to have a provider and a patient in a 10 by 10 small room safely together. And I just was racking my brain trying to figure out a service that we could provide to provide relaxation and healing to folks that did not have another person in the room. And that's when I figured out float tanks. So sensory deprivation or floating involves, we have an open tank, so there's no lid on top of it. It's kind of like a big bathtub. It's 5 foot by 8 foot, filled with 92-degree water, and that's a very specific temperature because that's your skin temperature. And you have 1,400 pounds of Epsom salts in this tank. So everybody floats. We have it optional to have complete darkness and complete silence. And it's been described as being kind of womb-like, just to make you feel in that very relaxed state of letting your nervous system relax and recharge.
Oh, I'm in love with this idea. I'm sitting here going, it's great.
Come on in.
Yeah, well, believe me, I'm going to be knocking on your door. So how long does the acupuncture treatment and the floating, how long does those feelings last?
Oh, great question. So that's going to depend on what person's coming in for and how long the condition has been there. I might see folks that sprained their ankle over the weekend on a Monday, and they're going to have immediate results, and it's going to last for a day or two. Depending on the severity of the sprain, I might need to see them again that week. Depending on if there's a chronic issue underneath it, they might need a couple of treatments. Now compare that to some of our other specialty areas like fertility. We might treat people with fertility issues once a week for a couple of months in order to get things back into balance.
Oh, interesting. I have a list in front of me, and I wanted to jump down the list to cancer care.
Sure.
I have a personal reason why I'm asking this. I get massages, but they have to be, now my mind went blank, certain kind of massage.
Lymphatic drainage.
Thank you, lymphatic drainage. Do you do that for your cancer patients?
Well, just like what lymphatic drainage does, it moves the lymph in your body. Acupuncture has similar effects. So along with my former partner, Josh Singer, we implemented the acupuncture program at National Life Cancer Center up at UVMMC, CVMC.
Right.
And that was in 2015, I believe. And so we don't treat cancer. We treat the side effects.
Right.
We treat the side effects of medications from nausea and fatigue and body temperature changes and itchiness and neuropathy. And some of those things can go on for years after radiation and chemotherapy. So we treat people both during their cancer treatment and also long after.
Do you also treat for lymphoma?
Again, we wouldn't treat the lymphoma, but we would support the
right.
oncologists in their treatment by providing complementary care.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I'm going up for my yearly exam, which is why it's on my brain at the moment.
Well, we'd be happy to help you out.
Well, thank you. Mm-hmm. You may see me. I'm very curious about all this.
Great.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about Thrive, which Darcy brought up. What is that exactly?
It's an awesome program. We nicknamed it a mini CEO class. It covered everything that one would need to know in small business, and it was broken up by the week. We would do in person. We had about 20 small business owners, and just the camaraderie that we felt with each other coming together in person every week was great. Some people I'm still in touch with. And then we had homework, and we did online tutorials and, just kind of made sure we had our T's crossed and I's dotted on all of our business plans and P&L statements. Every week was a different subject.
So this was through the SBA?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I thought it was part of what you were doing, a program named Thrive. But that sounds fascinating. I'm going to put the discussion of Thrive on hold at the end because I'd like to ask you some more questions about the services you offer. Particularly, I'm looking at the caption Women's Health. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about what that encompasses?
Sure. A lot of people use acupuncture as a complementary medicine, just for life, for stress, for wellness. With every insertion of an acupuncture needle, there's an increase of white blood cell production. So it's just really great for immunity. So some women choose to come in on a schedule of once a month or once a season just to have what we call tune-ups. I mean, we take care of our car maybe sometimes better than our bodies, right? As far as specific conditions that we treat in women's health, I do a lot of work with perimenopause and menopause symptoms. I do a lot of work with menstruation and regulating that, PMS, painful periods, pretty much anything you can think of. This medicine's been around for 4,000 years for a reason, so we've got something that we can do to help you out.
That's really, it's just fascinating to me, and I get the massage therapy because of my cancer, former cancer. I'm, as they say, a NED, no evidence of disease.
All right.
When I got that on my form, I was very excited. I'm a NED.
Yay.
Exactly. But I'm not allowed to have the deep tissue massage, and I miss that so. That stays with you a long time.
Yeah, that deep relaxation you feel with deep tissue massage, that's caused by dopamine being released in your brain. And acupuncture does that too.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I'm not allowed to, but I take their word for it. So what else would you like to talk about? And I guess good old wellness. I know in some of my discussions with doctors and physicians that they're looking at curing people or helping people in a much more holistic way these days in, I don't want to say commercial, but in the medical family, they're looking at the whole person. What makes you happy? How do you cure you don't just cure the illness, you look at the whole person. Is that what you're doing?
Absolutely. And thank goodness we're all coming around to that and working together with integrative medicine. Yes, we treat wellness. Think about stress and how stress makes everything worse. We have a herbal formula. In Chinese, it's called Jiao Wei Xiao Yao San, and that translates to mean free and easy wanderer. Doesn't that sound like how we would
fabulous.
All like to feel?
Exactly.
So
sounds like floating. That's
an herbal formula that we use for so many different complaints. I might have somebody with IBS, neck and shoulder pain, irregular heartbeat and insomnia, and all these people might come in with different conditions, but they all might be treated in a similar way because stress is the underlying cause. So they might take free and easy wanderer, or we might do acupuncture to move their chi, and they all feel a lot better.
Do you help? Everybody's mad these days, Kerry.
Yes.
I mean, does that help? I mean, everybody is mad about something, and really mad, not just mad. Yeah. It's pretty sad.
Irritability. We have acupuncture in the ears. We have over 100 points on the ear, and there are specific conditions that are treated really well with ear acupuncture, like addictions is one of the things that we treat. We've actually been volunteering at a new addiction residential treatment center in Ludlow to help with using acupuncture for addiction therapy, and it also helps with irritability. And general stress. And that was what our $10 clinic, our walk-in clinic would do, is ear acupuncture. That's how we were able to treat so many people at the same time.
That's really amazing. Define ear. When you're
it's not going in.
Just,
it's on the
that's why I was
outside.
asking.
Outside of the ear.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Because the minute you said in your ear, I went,
Thank you.
No.
Where you would, like a piercing, you know.
Yeah, right. Well, I remember years ago for weight control.
Yes.
They would put this like staple on the end of your ear.
That is from acupuncture.
Yeah, that's how old I am. And you would sort of pull on it when you felt like eating or something. And
that's from acupuncture.
There you go. Exactly. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your service before we let you go and talk to Darcy about the other winners and about Thrive?
Well, I'd love to just brag, if I may, about my team.
Okay.
I have an awesome team working with me in all three of my offices. Acupuncturists don't get into it in order to run a business. It's kind of a surprise after your 4 years of school that there aren't necessarily jobs available. And I was part of the team that implemented acupuncture on board cruise ships around the world. And so I had the great privilege of recruiting, hiring, and training hundreds of acupuncturists to put them on board ships. And when I came back to Vermont, I was very enthused with trying to create jobs for acupuncturists, these wonderful healers who just might not be business folks. And so I have a team of 6 acupuncturists that work with me, 2 massage therapists, and then, of course, our amazing support team who command the ship, who answer the phones and help people right on the front line of billing insurance and all that wonderful stuff. So I'm just so appreciative to our talented acupuncturists and support team.
Okay, so just one more question, then we'll let you go. I walk in, have no idea how you can help me. I sit down with somebody, talk to you about how I'm falling apart. I'm 80 years old and I'm falling apart. And you would recommend to me what I should do.
Yeah, we've got a needle for that.
Great. Depends on where you're putting it and we'll talk.
The first thing you would probably do is speak to Vanessa, Liza, or Anne, and they would guide you by, what kind of service do you need, and which office would you like to come into, and answer all your questions about, do I need to take my clothes off? Is it going to hurt? How long am I going to be there? What if I fall asleep? All those questions that everybody has, we're able to help you out and answer, so you feel really confident before you come in. And then we're, in the modern age, we've got everything digitalized, so we've got videos to send you to let you know what to expect. There's an intake form to do ahead of time, so you come in pretty prepared. And then you sit down with say you're having acupuncture, you sit down with an acupuncturist, and we do about a 15-20 minute intake, depending on how complicated your situation is, and we ask you all sorts of questions. First, we talk about why you're coming in and what your goals are for health. And then, because we are holistic, we're going to ask about things you might not think are connected. So if you're coming in for insomnia, we might ask you about your digestion, because for us, it's all one body, and we want to know everything. So we talk a lot about your whole body.
Kerry, I want to thank you very much for all that you do for us Vermonters. I will guarantee you I will come in and sit and talk. So
thank you. And
I appreciate it.
I'm very grateful to all Vermonters. We were helped out so much after the floods.
Yeah, I bet.
So thanks to our community.
Yeah, where were you during the flood? Where was your office?
Yeah, we're on Elm Street.
Elm Street. Yeah, did you get hit?
We did. Not as bad as a lot of our colleagues, but we got 5.5 feet in the basement of the building I just purchased.
Oh my gosh.
So all the guts of the building needed to be redone.
I felt so bad for the Capitol Plaza brand new owners.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to Vermont. And I think that I just saw a sign that they're opening soon, so that's exciting.
Yes.
Anyway, Dr. Kerry Boyle from Integrated Acupuncture, thank you. And congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
For being the Vermont Small Business Person of the Year. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.